Hello everyone, it's Evie here, and today I'm talking about letting go of these limiting stories we tell ourselves. And this really came through for me because recently I had something happen where I started feeling nervous and anxious, and I told myself, I'm an anxious person, I have anxiety, I can't do this. And it's just like a really simple thing, sending an email to someone I've never sent an email to before, and I just got in my head about it. It's like, no, I can't do this. It's too scary. And kept saying, I'm an anxious person. I can't. And I got fed up with myself. It's like, why am I telling myself I can't do this? I'm holding myself back. And then I looked at all these other things that I didn't do because I was so scared. I was telling myself that I'm too anxious, that I can't do this because I'm an anxious person. And I was so tired of myself, so tired of the story, that I decided to just do away with it. Because, yeah, new things can be scary, can make us anxious, but it's better to do it than to just hold yourself back, to keep telling yourself this story. And I talked to some people about how I was feeling, and they were like, yes, I'm feeling the same way. Like, let's do something about this instead of just telling ourselves these stories, telling ourselves we can't do things because of whatever story we're telling ourselves. Whether it be, oh, I'm not good enough, so I can't do this, or I'm not pretty enough, so I can't wear that, or whatever it is. It just doesn't serve us anymore, and it's time to let all of these things go. And I realized that to help me, I started looking at the particular situation. So I said, okay, what is it about this that makes me anxious? Instead of saying, I'm an anxious person, so I can't do this, I said, well, why am I anxious about this in particular? And it was new. It was a new experience for me. And it was something I really cared about. And that's why I was anxious. And it's like, okay, well, I really care about this. I really want this. So I'm going to do it with the fear, with the anxiety. I'm not going to hold myself back anymore. And that's actually something that one of my aunts told me a while ago. And she would always say, you have to do things with the fear. It's okay to be afraid. Feel that, but don't let it hold you back. And, it took me a while to actually apply it and listen to her, but I got there. And it's so true. We have to just do things, even if they make us anxious, even if we feel like I'm not good enough, I'm a fraud, what am I doing here? If it's something that we really want and something that we really want to do, we should pursue that and stop letting these limiting stories hold us back. We need to let go of them. So instead of saying, I'm an anxious person and I can't do this, I start looking at the situation. And that's really made a huge difference for me. Like, yeah, I'm still nervous about this thing, but I'm not going to let it hold me back, because if I do, I'm not going to get where I want to go. And we can't keep doing this to ourselves. We can't keep letting ourselves be miserable over little fears. It's ridiculous, and we all do it. We all have these stories we say, but it's just time to let it go. It's exhausting. Like, I was fed up with myself. I was so exhausted by just saying I can't do this. And I mean, what would happen if we all just stopped and said, hey, I'm afraid, but I can do this. I can do a tiny step. And that feels amazing compared to not doing anything at all. And I think that's the big difference for me at least, I've noticed a huge change. I feel so much better about myself and about what I'm doing because I'm at least trying. I'm making an effort. So I definitely think we should all give this a try. What about this particular situation is making you feel the way that you're feeling? Whether it be I want to wear makeup today, but I'm afraid because I don't think I'll look good enough. Well, what would happen if you just put some makeup on? Or what would happen if you wear that outfit you're afraid to let people see? Would you still feel good about yourself because you love that clothes? Or what if you sent that email or made that phone call or asked that question to the person that you really want to ask the question to? What would happen if you just went for it anyway instead of telling yourself you can't? Because that's a choice that you're making, and it's not a good one. I mean, I don't want to say like you're making the wrong decision, but I feel like if you really want something, you have to have the drive to do it. And stop telling yourself these stories. Stop making excuses for why you can't. Because these stories are really in our heads. Nobody told me, like, oh, you're an anxious person, so you can't do all of these things. I said that to myself. I did that to myself. Nobody did that to me. I've been put in situations where I felt anxious, where somebody made me feel anxious, but that was all me. That was how I felt, how I perceived the situation, as opposed to somebody saying, you're anxious. It might be obvious that I'm anxious in a situation, but it's not something that other people have placed upon me, have labeled me. It's how I labeled myself. And I've decided to stop. I'm not an anxious person. That's not who I am. I'm not anxiety embodied. God, that's not the life I want to live. Certain situations make me anxious. New things make me nervous, and that's okay. That's just part of life. But letting it hold me back is just not okay with me anymore. I'm definitely moving on to bigger and better things in my life, and that's scary, doing all these new things, talking to all these new people, but I'm not holding myself back anymore. And I hope you all will join me in letting go of these stories and letting us shine. Like, that's what I take away from this, that I shine brighter when I'm just taking a step, even a small step, towards what I want. Because at least I feel good knowing that I did something. I tried. If it doesn't work out the way I hoped, it's okay. At least I tried. I made an effort, and I can find something else to do, some other way to try. And that's okay. As long as we just keep trying, and we can feel our feelings, but just let go of these stories. So I definitely want to hear from you all. What stories have you been telling yourselves that you're just tired of, that exhaust you? It's exhausting to be anxious all the time. It's so exhausting. And I want to know, what are you ready to let go of? What limiting stories and limiting beliefs are no longer serving you? What do you find that you don't feel the same way about anymore? So let me know, and I will see you all next time.